As educators, it's important that we teach our students the value of growth in an educational environment. And on top of that, they also need to learn the value of self-assessment and taking ownership.
Right, and reflection is a key part of that. And helping our students become more reflective learners is something that we can do for our students to aid in that growth. And we're going to show you a few digital options to facilitate this on this week's episode of IT. Allowing students to self-assess and self-monitor themselves is an important part of students taking ownership of their growth. It's important to make sure that they have the ability to come up with their own goals and their own steps, as opposed to a teacher giving them whatever their goals should be.
And one way of doing this is by having students complete a data tracker. And adding a reflection piece to that data tracker is great too.
To create a simple data tracker for our students in Google Docs, we are going to simply construct it with a table to organize it that will allow them to complete this out. Now you can have them do it digitally, or you can print this out and have them do it by writing it as well. So to start, we're just going to go up here to Table and Insert Table, and now we're going to decide how big we want this table to be or how many boxes we want to include in it. I'm going to include, for right now, 5 rows of boxes, or excuse me, 5 columns, and we'll say for right now we'll do 6 rows. And then now once I have this, I could decide how big I want my boxes to be. Do I want to combine boxes? So for example, I might want this entire row to say weekly goals. Okay, and now what I can do is I can combine this entire row by highlighting it, and then if I right click on it, there'll be an option here to merge cells, and now all of those cells become one. I can center the information in here. I can change the formatting of it, so I can do all sorts of things inside of this one too. I can add additional text in here if I want to. So if I want this to be Monday or all the days of the week, I can type this in here. Once I enter in the days of the week, I can drag this down to give more room for my students to enter more information in there. I can do something similar down here where maybe I want to include an opportunity for or a space for reflection, and then maybe I want to give them an opportunity for an action step as well, where they can put what they're going to do to meet a goal that they've set for themselves. Okay, and then I can merge these just like I did before. So now that reflection cell is going to be more spacious. I can merge these, and I can spread this out some and do the same thing with the action step. I can merge this and drag this down to give them more room for an action step. And maybe I want to give them opportunities to get feedback from their teachers or maybe even their peers. So I can click right here and type in teacher comments, and then maybe I want to give them an opportunity to put peer comments as well. And then I can do like I did before, combine these two to maybe make this a bigger space where teachers can leave their comments, and a bigger space where my students can leave their comments as well. And I'll drag this down just like I did before to add some more space. And I don't think I'm going to need this last row, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of this by highlighting it and then saying delete row. Okay, so now I have a space here for my teacher to leave comments and for students to leave comments. So this is just one simple way that you can create a goal setting sheet for your students to do so they can start reflecting on their learning.
What's really great about data trackers is the flexibility that you can actually put it in many different pieces of software. So you could use a Google Doc, you could use a Google Sheet, you could also have students handwrite it on paper or pencil.
True, but what I do like about using a Google Doc is the ability to leave voice notes. Now students can listen to voice comments as opposed to just reading them.
Students can leave feedback for other students using features inside of Read and Write for Google. To access it, they can click the purple puzzle piece in the Chrome browser. You'll see that it drops down and there's a feature inside of it called Voice Note. This will allow students to record a voice recorded message or a comment that other students can listen to. So they can click on voice note, and now you'll see this screen here. They can click this microphone to begin recording their voice. I think you have some really good goals, and it looks like you've made some progress. Maybe you and I can work together to help you with your reading so that you can reach all of your goals. Once the student's done, they can click the insert button, and Google Read and Write will work to put that in the document. If they want to hear it again, they can hit this play button. Otherwise, it will go directly into the student's document. And there it is. So now whenever the student wants to listen to the feedback the students left them, they can hit this play button to hear that feedback.
The really cool thing about using the voice notes is that the students can now hear any inflections or any change in pitch to really get us an idea of what the other students are really trying to emphasize in their comment.
So we've had students reflect on their own work, we've had students reflect on other students' work, but it's also important that they're able to provide a reflection on a prompt given by a teacher. And one way of doing this is by using Flipgrid.
Flipgrid is a fun interactive learning tool that students can use. And what this does is it gives them the ability to reflect on a prompt that has been posted by the teacher or by someone else, and they can do it by recording themselves. So I've already logged in. Once you've logged into your Flipgrid, one of the important things to remember is that under the free version of Flipgrid, you have one grid that you can make. If you want to make additional ones, you have to upgrade. Okay, to create a new grid, we're going to hit the blue button here for new grid, and then we're going to complete the details under here. Okay, once you have filled out your information, you give them the details for it. It'll give you a grid code. You'll see it is right here at the end, so you'll just have to keep that. They have some information down here at the bottom where if you want to change those settings, you can certainly do that. But I'm going to click Create Grid and then create a topic. Now I'm going to give my session a title. Okay, then I'm going to set the amount of time that they're going to be allowed to respond for. I can change that to something else if I prefer. Right now for this one I can do for a minute and a half or 15 seconds. I'm going to leave it the way it is, and then I can enter in my description or the question I want them to answer. Okay, once you have entered that information in there, we can hit Create Topic, and then you'll see this posted again. There's your grid code, and then now I can give this to my students for them to enter in when they go to Flipgrid. I say got it, and so now the topic has been created. Now on my student side, if I log in as a student, let me show you what their side looks like. Now when a student goes to Flipgrid, what they will just do is take that code that you gave them. They can put that in that section right there, and then hit enter, and that will open up the grid. And there's the grid that my students will see. They can click on it, and then when they want to respond, they can click this green button here. It's going to ask them to allow access to the camera. They can hit allow, and now my students can respond to the question here by clicking this red camera button here. And once they have done that, I will see their response on my grid.
What's great about Flipgrid is it doesn't require any students' information. They don't have to log into anything. And now as a teacher, I have one place where I can see all of my students' responses. I can comment back, and it just gives me a quick glance into the thought process.
That's going to do it for this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check us out next week for another edition of IT Weekly.